Well, hey there, everybody. It's Mike here from Path of Play, and this is a first. We're doing this completely off the cuff, sort of. I decided I wanted to try an idea by creating a newsletter with everybody. It's a weird time to be making a change like this, but I've found that Facebook is kind of proving to be a bit inconsistent. I don't think it's the most reliable tool to reach out to the Path of Play community for a couple of reasons. One, I have really no idea who's seeing my messages. I mean, there's so much social media out there that it's hard to know who's really seeing our updates. And I've come across some friends of mine, like we've touched base, and it's been a little while. And part of the conversation includes the discussion of how they weren't aware of some of the things that were happening with the project. And that really concerned me because this is an extremely important time for Path of Play. This newsletter alone is going to talk about our next family game day coming up, our presence at Replay FX in Pittsburgh. We've just been invited to another convention. And here's the really cool part. Toronto Dominion Canada Trust, TD Canada Trust, that's where we have our bank accounts. And they just made a $500 donation to Path of Play. And the way the story unfolded is just really unbelievable. So you're likely watching this video because you received an email, which is our very first newsletter. So it means that I've decided to find a different way, a different platform, if you will. Some people will probably be familiar with the MailChimp platform, and I've decided that this is the way that we really need to go because we'll know that the people on the list really want that information about Path of Play. So it's almost in a way, and I wouldn't really call it a step back, but we're just restructuring how we communicate with everybody out there. It's really, really important that we know that the people who are receiving this information or that we're trying to reach out to, that we're actually making a connection with them, okay? So if you've received this, there's a good chance it's because you contributed to our fundraising campaign last year, and we've kept that mail list. And because this is the first one, I'm only going to say that I'm 95% certain that you can unsubscribe just like any other newsletter. And we would certainly understand, but we hope that you're glad you're receiving a link to this video. So let's go ahead and talk about a few things here because there's a lot going on. These were some photos from our last family game day, which we had on March the 3rd. It was such a wonderful day. We really saw the spirit behind Path of Play. The level of inclusion was very natural. Nothing was forced, and it was our first one of the year, and it's always nervous getting that first one out of the way, but these kids had a great time. They played pinball, they played board games, they wrapped up the day here with a few games of Mario Kart. There's Luke, Stefan Tomasian, and his family brought over a token for Lukey. He loves dinosaurs, and they brought him a video over. There's my buddy Steve, who loves pinball, and this photo right here really says everything about the Path of Play spirit and what's becoming of this event. This is something that's been happening in our basement for the last couple of years, and now we've been extended an invitation to a very special place in Toronto. Jerry Power over at Player1 Amusements in Toronto. They're located near the airport in our city. And they've invited us to bring the event into their showroom. And this place is just amazing. It's like a large playground with a pile of pinball machines and foosball tables and basketball nets and racing games and bowling games and a lot of those games that you see where you're zipping cards through at the bowling alley and you got to throw balls at targets. These, not just the kids, the parents, everybody who comes this Sunday on April 7th is going to have the most amazing time. And I'm so glad that Shaza from Autism Training and Therapy, that's where Luke attended his program, and he graduated last June, but we still have such a tight connection with Shaza and her team. We've got 4 of the people from ATT coming and representing that therapy center. I'm so lucky to have them involved, and they're proud to be a part of it. So we're really aiming to make this an extremely successful event because we're less than 2 years old, and this is starting to move outside of the basement. Case in point, we're going to be in Pittsburgh at Replay FX. This photograph is from the Pinburg tournament. You can see everybody watching. His name is Keith Elwin, and he is considered by many to be the best pinball player ever. There's always room for debate, but there's absolutely no question that he is up there. He's won Pinburg, I believe, 4 times, and I think they've had the event 8 times. And it's no easy task. This year, they're going to have 1,000 competitors. So to be able to stand out that way and be that good is quite an achievement. And I love watching this tournament. Now, you can see it's a very, very big hallway. So why would Path of Play be there? Well, it's because the great folks at Replay, Kevin Martin, Mark Steinman, Doug Polka, and Elizabeth Cromwell have made arrangements for Path of Play to have a private room outside of the main hall, i.e. autistic friendly or autism friendly. And this is just such a generous thing for them to do because, to my knowledge, it marks the first time that a convention goes this far to extend a reach to families living with autism, to create something that is specifically for them. We're starting to see a lot of things happen, like Ripley's Aquarium here in Toronto. They've they've been certified as an autism-friendly location, and they're the first attraction in Canada to receive that recognition. So they've gone through training and the necessary checkpoints to be recognized as such. And these are just amazing things that are happening for people who are living a life with autism. And so we're very excited to be able to go down there in July. And what's going to happen is over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, autism therapy centers in Pittsburgh are going to be invited to bring their clientele to, or the families they work with, feel better explaining it that way, I guess. They're going to have an opportunity to bring them to this room and experience Replay FX in a way that can lend a greater hand to a comfortable experience and an enjoyable experience and a safe experience. Autism is an extremely dynamic world, and every single child is different, whether it's about what they're able to accomplish, what their challenges are, where they excel, how they fit into their social surroundings. It's all very, very different. And when you can start in a quiet space and ensure the most possible measures of safety and the acts of putting them first, it really helps them out a lot. And I'm very, very excited and thankful that we can be a part of it that way. Now, you think that would be enough good news, right? Well, there's more. And this one surprised me even more because what you're seeing here is a picture from an event called Origins. It's operated by an organization called Gamma, and their event happens in June in Columbus, Ohio. Marie Poole, who is a director on the board, heard about Path of Play. I'm not quite sure how yet. I haven't had a chance to really talk to her on the phone, but she reached out to me and told me that she had been talking about Path of Play to some degree with her comrades, and they wanted to talk to me about having Path of Play at this event. We just had a conference call. Unfortunately, Marie was sick, but her colleague John spoke with me, and we had such a wonderful conversation. And the same thing is going to be happening now at Origins. And this means a lot to me because I started my board game collection back in 2004. It has gotten ridiculously large. And it's an honor to be asked and to see organizations like this. I mean, we're talking about 30,000 people that go to Replay FX. We're talking about 20,000 unique individuals that attend the Origins event. It's an honor to be offered space and to have presence in this manner at these types of events. And so I'm working with John on reaching out to therapy centers in that city. I've already been told by Mark that they will assist in getting pinball machines up from Pittsburgh to this event. So we're working out all of these logistics right now. But this is absolutely unbelievable, and I'm so thankful. So thank you to ReplayFX. Thank you to Gamma and having us. You can see there's another picture there at Origin. So it's all about playing games here. And people love this event. It just keeps growing and growing, and we're just so glad that we can be a part of it. Now, you would think that I would be stopping there, but I have even more good news, which you heard me say at the beginning of this video. TD Canada Trust made a donation in the amount of $500 to Path of Play. And that's amazing. It is really amazing. But how it became amazing is even more amazing. So I'm going to tell you a really ridiculous story. And you're going to wonder how the popcorn trail leads to the donation, but hear me out, okay? I want to show you. Here's a selfie that I took in one of the branches. Okay, now that's did I bring their business cards with me? Well, okay. The lady in the middle, her name is Bibi, and she is the branch manager. The girl beside her in the red shirt, the woman beside her in the red shirt, sorry, that's Helena. And I can't believe what Bibi did with her branch, okay? So this doesn't start out on a good note, okay? We'll get back to the photo in a minute. We cashed a check. And I should mention it came from ReplayFX as well. So every summer at their Intergalactic Pinball Tournament, that tournament is a fundraiser for 3 charities, and we are one of the recipients. And they made a donation of $2,700 to help Path of Play. So that was part of our fundraising total last year. And those checks come around at the end of the year. And so it took a little while for us to get the check into the bank because we were dealing with other things like rebuilding our website and such. But thank you to Replay. We have thanked them so many times, but you just can't say it enough. That relationship means everything, and they are a true lifeline to Path of Play. So anyways, we had the check, and we brought it to the bank. We cashed it. Now, I'm a dad who's had a life experience, and this whole Path of Play thing has unfolded. So I don't know everything. And what I didn't know was that when you are cashing a U.S. check or when you're putting it into your U.S. bank account, it's one of the two. They have to hold the check for 15 days. I did not know this. And should I have? Probably. But what we do is we transfer those funds from the U.S. account to the Canadian account. And in order to do that, we have to have 2 signing officers. I'm not allowed to just go and move money and put money wherever I want. We settle on amounts, and then 2 of us sign it. We move the money into the Canadian account, and then we deal with our daily business activity, whether they be donations of our own or whether we have our own bills to pay off, whatever the case may be. But that's what we do. So I went into the bank to do the transfer on day 13. And the teller that I was working with just made an honest oversight, didn't catch it. I didn't know it. And the check ended up being returned, and we were charged $50 for that. I went into this branch at one point trying to rectify all this and seeing if there was a way that we could just get the transfer done. We obviously did what we were supposed to do, but we just had this honest oversight. So BB stepped in and said, what you need to do is get an email out to the other signing officer so that she can confirm that she authorized this transaction. If she can do that, I'm going to help you out. We typically don't bend the rules this much, but we had spent a long time trying to move that money into our Canadian account, and we had a couple of small bills that we had to take care of, and we just wanted to maintain our good standing with things, right? So we arranged all that. But then she said to me on a whim, oh, by the way, what's your charity about? So I told her the whole story, um, and she just thought the idea behind Path of Play and the idea that so many people got behind it was really amazing. When I talk about Path of Play, I talk much more about this community than I do about my own family and what we've been through, because it's the community that drives it. So she really thought that was cool. And it just happened to be the day before World Autism Awareness Day on April 2nd. So I had come into the bank on April 1st. We had made this arrangement that I was going to come in the next day, which was World Autism Awareness Day, and we were going to get the transfer done. She decides that morning to email everybody who works at the branch to tell them to wear blue, which is what a lot of people do for Autism Awareness Day. And when I was going to come in, they were going to surprise me with just an act of support. And even just trying to tell it, like, it really just pulls at my heartstrings. I just can't believe she decided to do that. It was just so sweet and thoughtful. Unfortunately, I had emailed her later that morning and I said, something's come up and I can't come until tomorrow. So she had her employees wearing blue as an act of support for the idea behind Path of Play, and suddenly I couldn't come in. And her response just was, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. She didn't say anything. And I wish she had, because I would have found a way to get into the bank and thank everybody. So I come in the next day and she tells me this, and I just feel terrible, because it's a really, really kind thing to do. And then she says, on top of that, as a branch manager, I have permission to choose various charities, non-for-profit initiatives, any humanitarian project, and we can make donations to them. And I've decided that this branch is going to donate $500 to Path of Play. So this went from having trouble cashing a check because of an error on my part and an honest oversight on the part of the teller, to this pay it forward thing that I don't know if it was just a beautiful, beautiful gesture on their part to decide to wear blue. And I guess she's connected to everybody on Snapchat. It was just unbelievable. And then of course the donation, because yes, you do need financial support, but it was really that act of blue that just stood out to me, and I just couldn't believe it. So I want to bring them up again. That's BB in the middle. That's Helena. And Helena was particularly happy that she could be a part of helping us out. And I gave BB a hug and thanked her so much for doing that. I'm still, I'm in awe. Kudos to TD Bank and her branch specifically for stepping up that way, because I often find, how many situations do you find yourself in where, you're looking at the person on the other side of the table and it comes down to a matter of whether or not they can or they will. That's the thing you always really want to know. You always hear like the policy thing or what the black and white is. And here's a person who decided that they could and would and just did something really, really amazing. Okay, here's the last thing that I want to talk about. We've got Path of Play Day coming up. Do you know about it? And this is the thing with Facebook. I'm not really sure everybody knows, but this is a day when everybody plays games together. It is our fundraiser, and it is happening on Saturday, April 27th, and we really need our community. It's easy for a charity to say that, but I'm going to tell you why we really need our community. These opportunities where we get to go to Replay FX, where we get to go to Origins, where we have people in 8 different cities around the world right now. We've got people in Calgary, Waterloo, Lafayette, Indiana, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got Neil and Mandy McRae, who have already had a family game day last year over in the UK in their hometown, that has been certified by the National Autistic Society. These are big things, and we don't have to raise a lot of money to get these things off the ground. But the fact that this started in our basement, and the fact that we have an opportunity now to extend this outside of our home base of Toronto, makes this oh so important. Not only for the fact that we can then do these things and get these things kickstarted, but also because we want to start building relationships with the corporate world. We want to go from a non-for-profit status to a charity status this fall. And it's going to make our job a whole lot easier if we can tell these corporations that want to talk to us, hey, guess what? We've got an amazing community that stepped up and went nose to the grind and helped us do those first rudimentary things that we needed to get that foundation in place. So it's not just about the money. Our fundraising goal is $10,000. And I like to work things in simple numbers. We've got 584 people in our Facebook community. I don't know of how many of those people are actually seeing our messages. But between that and the stream that we did on Papa recently, where we now have 1,700 views, we just had the pleasure of being invited to be on Jeff Teolis's podcast, Pinball Profile. We just did that episode. There has got to be 125 gamers, whether you're a board gamer, a video gamer, or a pinball player, where you would invite 3 of your friends to your house for a couple of hours and play games with them. The registration for this event is $20. If you go to pathofplay.com/popday2019, that's the page you're going to go to. And it's going to outline everything you got to do, everything that's involved. It talks about, you can get access. There's right up, you see these blue buttons here, okay? And you can get information about what our mandates are. Most of you know them already, but we're distributing board games. We're trying to get these family game days off the ground in other locations. We are going to be getting back into subsidy programs like yoga programs for kids, swimming programs, things that are more universal for families. Just little things that we can do to help ease the costs for families that have to find ways to help their kids and get them therapy and do the things they need so that they can put their best foot forward. Our role is to help these families find social surroundings where they feel accepted, where we can circumvent those feelings of depression and anxiety. We really have a tremendous opportunity, and this is where we need you. We are trying so hard to keep our request for financial support minimal, reasonably affordable, foreseeable. We will only be having Path of Play Day on the last weekend of April, the last Saturday of April, and the last Saturday of September. And all we need to do is find 125 people who will invite 3 of their friends. We all have 3 friends. And you all register. It's $20. And on April 27th, or a day before or after if you can't do April 27th, but you will play together. That's the message. It's a day of unity where we let these families know we're behind them and we support them, and we don't want them to be shut out from this world and the thing that we all love to do, which is playing. And if we can do that together, this project, I know right now, can make a tremendous global impact over time. It's already starting to happen. And that is why your role in this is oh so important. On that day, you can make your social media posts, hashtag Path of Play. You can sort of see it right there in the middle of the screen. And if you use that hashtag, I'm going to be here in Toronto streaming all through the day, showing all of your posts. You might be living in Seattle and seeing someone in Prince Edward Island making a post, and all of you are going to see each other's posts through the day, courtesy of our live broadcast here in Toronto. It's just going to be a tremendous day of unity, a wonderful way to send a message that we're very excited about what this project is accomplishing. And oh, by golly, I hope that you'll be a part of it. So you can just go to pathofplay.com, look for the link up at the top that says Pop Day 2019, and all the details are there. But you can literally register in 5 minutes and just have a little event at your house where your friends get together and do your favorite thing that makes you want to play. I really hope that you're still there with us. And if we can do this, it is going to complete those foundational elements that we need to take this to the next level. We have conventions that are inviting us to their events. And that means the door is open to speak with them about what else is possible beyond that. And we could do some really amazing things. And without a community, you miss that spirit, if you know what I'm saying. It's like, you could play pinball by yourself. You could play board games and video games by yourself. But without your friends and your community by your side, it's just not the same. And nothing means more to me than making this a tribal effort. So I hope you'll think about that and choose to be a part of this day. Um, it's not for me. It's for these families. It's all these other families that I think about. I think our family in particular has had a pretty fortunate journey. We had support around us in the beginning, fortunately, thank goodness. But some of these families do not. And when autism makes its presence known, it's not like it's a striking dark thing every single day. Some days are hard, but some days are incredibly wonderful. It's just that what autism does is it just makes you start over. It's as if you're turning hex tiles over on a board game and autism comes along and just turns them back over and says, start again. And you just have to find a way to rewire the connections and think outside the box and make those connections with your child. And we want to help these families do that. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this was informative and reasonably entertaining. This is the first time I've ever done anything in one take. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next newsletter. Okay. And thank you for supporting Path of Play. Take care, everybody.